Well, good morning to everybody. Blessings on your life. It's another day that the Lord has made, and we are going to rejoice and be glad in it. I am Dr. Donnie Eatman, and I am your friend on this morning. I'm your host. I'm your teacher. I'm gonna try to be your help in my limited ways on today. On Wednesday, I titled the message, my last message, "Bamboozled," and bamboozled is another word for hoodwinked. That's what it's an African American colloquialism, so to speak. We say that you've been hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled, you've been run amok. What that means is that somebody has tried to pull the covers over your head. Malcolm X was known for using that phraseology, trying to reach African American people to wake us up, if you will. And so I want to continue with that piece because there is something that is going on that is lurking in the background, in my opinion, that's being the curtain is over it, in front of it right now. The cover is over it right now, but I think it's significant. I believe it's very germane to our lives, and so we need to bring it forward, and we need to give it some thought, some consideration before we do our due diligence, even in November. Now, if you've been under a rock, you wouldn't know this, but most people are aware that there's some significant things that have happened in the last week or so. One is the attempt on former President Trump's life. The other one that is very significant since that, well, no, before that, they had the debate, and the debate went really poorly for President Joe Biden. Then you had the assassination attempt, and then from there, the party, the Democratic Party, has been aggressively moving towards getting the president removed. That they don't want him there. Now, the reason that the argument, I would say, or the excuse that they're using is because it would be in the better interest of the Democratic Party if he wasn't there, because we all know that he ain't quite there. He's got some mental challenges, and his body is declining on him because he is aging. And things, life happens, right? But they're saying it's better for, now this is the bamboozlement, this is the hoodwink piece. They said that it would be better for the Democratic Party, number one. Then it would show more unity and more strength if the party got together and they united in strength with somebody that could contend with the opposition, which is former President Donald Trump. The other one is that it would be better for the people. Now they want to put the concern. We're concerned about the people, and I've said it before. Anybody knows me, I don't really bite my tongue about a lot of stuff. Ain't nobody concerned about you. You better be concerned about yourself, folks. Folks said, I said politicians, what they do, and they're really good at this. They tell lies. That's what they're good at. And so what we have to understand is that there's an undercurrent that's going on. What you have to see, that is underneath the sheets, that is behind the curtain, is that they're scurrying around trying to make this happen, because what they know is that if in the event that Biden stays put where he is, and by some strange reason something happens to him physically and he can no longer go forward after, if he was to win. Now that's the big if. I don't believe he's going to win. Even if he was strong, I don't believe he would win. Maybe, I don't know. But here's the strategy. If he stays where he's at and things does swing his way, and then it goes away from his way, then the vice president, Kamala Harris, would be the next person up to bat. She's the incumbent. She's the vice president. And the way the Constitution states, by law, she takes over the president spot. Now, the problem is this. They ain't gonna let that happen. Okay, because they are not going to allow a black person, another black person, for one, and for two, a black woman, no matter what mixes she has in her, a black woman, to be commander in chief. Now, let me just say this. Let me clarify my position on this. I don't personally believe that Kamala Harris is fit to be commander in chief. I don't personally believe that. I think that she's far from being commander in chief, and I'll give you my reason at another time. But that's not important right now. The importance is that I deliver this message that I want to get to you. And so they all know that it would put her in position, and it's going to cause a problem. Instead of dealing with the black and white problem, with the black brown problem that it may create, the woman problem, or with women that it may create all this. Let's nip this in the bud right now, but it's still going to create this. But it'll be a softer blow if we can get him out before November. And so that is the objective. Ultimately, what am I trying to say to you? The issue goes back to a core problem that we've had in this country that we call the United States of America, the place of liberty and freedom and justice and all that. The issue is racism. The bottom line is that they have devised a switch and bait, so to speak, to do something to get her out of the way, because they ain't about to let Kamala Harris be in office. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That is not going to happen. Not with what you call the hegemony. The hegemonies is the powers to be. Now, these types of things bring out the best of times and the worst of times. So the real colors, because when the rubber hits the road, the rubber hitting the road right now, all of a sudden you have a party that's supposedly unified. They're supposed to be unified, right? They're the Democratic Party. However, at the end of the day, when you start getting into issues like this, we the Democratic Party, as long as you ain't got nobody black and a woman in control, in charge, yeah, we gonna be the Democratic Party. You got Nancy Pelosi and there's a whole lot of other ones in there, and they all good people, long as things are going their way. I told you, I've been telling y'all this. It's all about systems and structures, right? And search and frisk means one thing for black people, and it means another thing for white folks, because white folks, they legislate now. By no means am I trying to start an argument. Am I trying to be racist right now? Do I want to discriminate? None of that kind of stuff. I'm just noting and pointing out the reality, the facts of anybody's observation of life. This is just the way it is. And so when you really look at all this, the dynamics is the hegemony, and the hegemony is you got all those good old boys, those white men that are there, whether you a Democrat or not. It wouldn't matter whether you was Republican or a Democrat. Now, see, we looking at this, and what I'm here to tell you is things can get, as a country folks would say, far worse, because when it comes down to black and white and some of these internal issues, these heart issues that we have, you could at some point have Republicans and Democrats unite if it comes down to a race issue. When it comes down to a race issue, we never know what life can throw at us to cause certain events. Now, I'm gonna close the door on that one, because we could open up Pandora's box right there. I don't want to say something, put something out in the atmosphere, and then you end up having to deal with something like that. So at the end of the day, what we're dealing with is bamboozled, because that's what they want you to believe, that it is an issue with how they need to process this based upon this, that, and the other. And they want everything to be right for the people, because it's about the interests of the people, black people, white people, brown people, about women, about issues, about the LGBTQ. It's an issue about all that. But the bottom line, it's an issue about race. It's a race issue. So what they want to do ultimately is keep black, brown people and hillbillies. Now, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just mean it because hillbillies is classified in the same category as a lot of black people and brown people. It's like they're worthless, right? We have them and we have to tend to them, but they in the backwoods too, which basically is they're not significant. And so when you look at these people, although they may have the same color, they still have an advantage over blacks, but a very, very minute advantage. These are the people that are targeted, and they want to make sure that we remain at the margins, or a better way to say it, that they remain, or that we remain in our places. Now, I want to go to a place today, and I want to talk from the subject, a safe place. That's our subject matter on today. It's going to be a safe place, because ultimately, at the end of the day, what we will discover and what God is trying to get us to discover is that our safety, our hope, our strength is not in a system or a structure or a man. A president can't do that for you. Our hope and our safety and our strength is grounded in Jesus. So I want to talk from the subject, a safe place. Now I'm trying to I'm prefacing all this because I'm trying to get us to a certain place. I want you to understand some things. You need to sit down and think about it. Now, y'all know that I am a companion to the church. I want to say some things that maybe you've never heard before, but you have to stay with me to understand it, to consider it, because I'm going to give you some facts, some things that the church probably will never give you, and certainly the world is not going to give you. I said to you all a while back that I was going to give you a little breakdown of Abraham's children. Everything that we deal with in life, in the earth, you will find it in the Bible. You will find it directly or indirectly. You will find it overtly or covertly. You will find it. It will be in there. It's by revelation. It's either dispensationally, it's figuratively, it's spiritually. It's a variety of ways that you're going to find whatever it is that we're going through in life. But you have to find it. It's like finding gold. And so I'm here, that's my job. That's my calling. And so I discover these things as I hear life happening. And then I bring these things to our attention. I want us to go to the book of Genesis, chapter number 25. And I want to just read this to help me flesh out my teaching on today, my little message on today. It says here in verse number 1, it says, "Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua." Okay, that's the 6 sons that she bare him. Now, I want to just talk about 2 of them today for the sake of brevity, because we don't have time. But I need this in order to make my point and to challenge you with all the rhetoric that I've already put before you. One of the things that we will understand, and the reason why I want to bring that to your attention, is because I have been trying to drive home this issue of the margin for a few messages now. And I've said before that we are living in a time where the margins are screaming. That's what we're hearing. I had one message about a week ago, the cries of the children. It was something like that. But the cry now is, I cry because I don't feel like I'm at the center. I don't feel like I'm being heard. I don't feel like I'm being understood. I don't feel like I'm being respected. And so our terminology, the way that we view that in our linguistics or in our understanding, the way that we view it is that these people are marginalized whenever there's no voice, whenever you're not heard, it means that you are at the margins. And so I reference Abraham and Abraham's children. Now, Abraham had 2 sons, Isaac and Ishmael, that we often talk about, although we contrast them very differently. However, they are mentioned. There is one that falls in the category of sovereign selection, which is Isaac. And then there's another one, Ishmael, that does not. However, the Bible talks about that he will be blessed, and he is extremely blessed even today. I want to focus on the other ones after Sarah, Abraham's wife. After she died, then Abraham, the Bible says that he took on another concubine, and her name was Keturah. Keturah bare Abraham 6 sons. And now all this is the climax, or how I'm trying to bring this together. The voices now that are screaming, and they're going to get an opportunity to be heard. Now, even in that opportunity to be heard, it does not mean that they're going to have their way, that they will be satisfied, but they are going to be heard. But now I want you to see something here. The first son that Abraham had by Keturah, his name was Zimran. Zimran. The meaning of his name is a vine dresser, a vine dresser. And anybody knows anything about a vine, number one, Back in those days, if you were a vine dresser, then that means that you came from a wealthy place. That means that you had money, right? That means that you were significant. It also means that you had the wherewithal to deliver happy times, right? Because when you drink wine, wine is a reflection of happy times. It also means to celebrate a one, or the celebrated one. It means a time of coming together and to rejoice. It also means a new song. It means that we are in a place of praise or rejoicing or what have you. Now, that was the meaning of Zimran's name. That is a son of Abraham that is only mentioned in the Bible a couple times, and it's in reference to the genealogy of Abraham. It does not really get into Zimran actually being able to display these attributes. So, in other words, he did not live that out, or it was not actualized in his life. Is a problem. How is it now that God has gifted you, God has blessed you, He's given you so much, but you have to keep it under wraps? You have to keep it suppressed. You have to keep it oppressed. There is a hegemony. There is a stronghold. There is a power now that won't let you sing a song. There's a power now that won't let you be celebrated. There's a power now that won't let you drink of the wine that God has blessed you, that He has given to you to make you happy. You can't do any of that. Now, I just want you to keep in mind some of the things that are going on. Does that fit Black and brown people? Does that fit Asian people? That's they're still the brown people. Does that fit some of the communities that are screaming? Does that fit Me Too? Does that fit LGBTQ? Does that fit a lot of the different things that are on the table right now that people are screaming out about? Why am I saying it? Because it's at the margins. It's real to them, but it's not being actualized. Now, I got to get here to a certain place, because even in the end, it is not God's best that you be heard in the way that you want to be heard. Lord, help me to teach this, because ultimately, and I'm getting to the end, in the middle here. Ultimately, your song is going to be in Jesus. Your joy is going to be in Jesus. Your drink is going to be in Jesus. Your celebration is going to be in Jesus. But stay with me. He had another son. The second son, his name was Jokshan, and it has some significant meanings here. One of the meanings is it has no meaning. His name means no meaning, or another way you could put it is no significance. So in other words, you have a son now that is defined by no meaning or no significance. Back in those days, when you was given a name, the name became the fulfillment of your purpose. The other definition to his name is an offense. So he was the son of offense, or the son of hardness. Now, I want you to, the first one was very positive, right? We talk about celebration and songs, but then the other son here has no name. The other son has no significance. The other son has an offense. That means he has a smell to him. When I see him, I despise him. He has a hardness about him. Does that ring a bell? Does it have any reflection to some of the people that you know today that may be somewhat at the margins of life and what they are going through? I just want to bring that forward, just in a very compacted, truncated way, because that is very pronounced today in what we're going through. And a lot of us are still screaming, yet we're either gifted and we can't release the gift, or we're suppressed and we want to be heard, or we want to be released. We want the foot of oppression to be taken off of us. But here in the Bible, what we see is some sons. They were real sons. They weren't stepsons. They were Abraham's biological sons that he sent away. That Abraham sent them away, and actually, if you continue to read, he sent them away to a place called Midrash, and what it means is, I need to send you to a place that's going to protect you from the coals of Isaac, from the fire of Isaac, because in Isaac was the fulfillment of God's will, and I need to put you in a safe place, in a protected place, until you can realize that your strength, your your life, your everything is in Isaac by way of Jacob, by way of Jesus. So when we look at a lot of the different convictions that are out there today, a lot of the different religions, a lot of the things that people want to do, the ways that people feel that they're right in their own eyes, all these things have to come and have a set down. They have to come and have a face to face. They have to come and shake hands with Jesus to see that everything that you have been focused on, every direction that you've been going in, although I will hear them, I will not respect them, because at the end of the day, your salvation in every aspect of your life will be tied up in Jesus. This is the reason why the scripture says Esau, Jesus, or God hated, and Jacob he loved. He didn't say that because he hated one or he preferred one in their own person as individuals over the other one. What he was talking about is one is going to carry my will, and that one is going to be Jacob, and out of Jacob will come Jesus. So when you look at Confucius, when you look at the universal gods, when you look at the crystals out there, when you look at Seventh-day Adventists, all the different things that we look at and we embrace. At the end of the day, this is another reason why I say God says in Haggai, he says, I will get more glory out of the latter house than the former house, because it's going to come to a head. And when it comes to a head, everybody is going to bow, every knee is going to bow, every mouth is going to confess that Jesus is Lord. But I'm going to allow some things to happen before that happens, because it's going to be the only way that you're going to come into a true saving knowledge of who God is. So what we have to do, in my conclusion, I just want to wrap this up because I'm probably already over my time. I want to conclude this, and I hope that you've gotten a little something out of it today. I want to conclude this by saying we will experience more issues. Now, I'm not calling myself prophetic or anything like that, but I kind of just know what I know, what I hear, what I sense going on the inside of me. And a lot of us are looking for Biden's to be a saving grace. We're looking for the Trumps to be a saving grace. We're looking for the economy to turn around. We're looking for interest rates to go down. We're looking for food prices and gas prices and all that to be mitigated by the election, by some politician, by some slick talking person that really only has an interest in his pocket or her pocket, right? And then at the core of them, they have moral issues. They have personal issues of like racism and things like that. They want to maintain the power, being the hegemonies of society. They want to do that. And so my little thing that I want to say to you is that we will experience more issues in the land, and oppression will remain. We're going to see, and this is my guesstimation, and you can call it whatever you want to call it. I know what it is. I just ain't gonna call it that because I'm gonna get criticized. But this is because the Bible says that certain things are going to happen before Jesus returns. It is the fulfillment of prophecy, and it's the way it's going to go. Although we bounce, we fluctuate. That means that sometimes it looks stable, and when it looks stable, we take our feet off the gas of prayer, the gas of fasting, the gas of reading our Bible, the gas of trying to get closer to Jesus, and we start to pump the brakes. Why? Because we feel like times are okay. It's we can breathe now. It's going to be better, but it's not. God sometimes he gives us a little breather in there, but it's not a breather like things are going to get better. It can't really get better, because if it did, then prophecy would not fulfill itself. It's going to continue to be a downgrade, whether it's going to be 5%, 10%, 30%. We don't know what that's going to be, but there's always going to be some form of opposition. And so oppression will remain. What do we need to do? Prayer and a relationship with God is our escape. And that's the reason why I entitled this message, A Safe Place. It ain't going to be in no man. It ain't going to be in no job. I know some people are going through a lot of emotional things right now, and they feel like I just need Calgon. I just need to get away. I need to make me feel better, make me feel better, make me feel better. Not understanding that all these urges are evil, all these urges are coming from a place where the enemy knows that his time is short. So he wants you to get all wrapped up, tangled up in this and that conviction, that belief, this here, that there. He wants you to do all that, knowing that it's more and more tension that's going to be released. He's going to unleash some things in the earth. Man, I got so much that I want to talk to you about, but I just don't have time. So God is our escape, and this is our safe place. When trouble sees the blood, it will bypass you. Now, I want to say that literally, figuratively, and spiritually. I want to say that, but I don't want to say carte blanche. Because depending on where you are, you could experience any variation of that. So in some cases, it's just like the children of Israel when they were going through the desert. Even though they was going through the desert, they didn't have clothes, they didn't have manufacturers around them, and they didn't have merchants and all that kind of stuff. What God did was, as they grew, their shoes grew. As their feet grew, the shoes grew. As their bodies grew, their clothes grew. As they needed food, God provided it. He called it manna. And so there's a provision. Another place would be when the plagues was going on, and the final plague was that he would take all the firstborn. He says, but if you put the blood over your doorpost, he says, when the death angel or the destroyer, when he rides, when he comes past, he'll see the blood and he'll bypass. And so, in some of those, literally, that's going to happen, but it could be figuratively, where grace is going to just sustain you, and certainly it's going to be spiritually. At the end of the day, whether God is trying to show you something, to grow you, to mature you, however it is, he's doing what he has to do to put you in a safe place. Some people are going to be sick and you ain't going to be sick. Some people going to need money and you ain't going to need money. And some people, it's going to be money ain't going to be able to buy certain things. It might grow up in your backyard. I don't know. What I'm saying is, it's a very mysterious and mystical time that we're moving upon. And God is going to, as I said in a few messages back, when Lazarus died, and Jesus said that he says I'm glad. He says I'm glad, and he delayed his time going back. But he said, I delayed it for your sake. I delayed it so that your faith now would be strengthened to the point that where when you see me do what I'm going to do, you are going to know unequivocally that there is a God, and the God is in me, and the God is through me. And so this is going to give the right of way, the passage where God said, I will get more glory out of the latter house than I would have ever gotten out of the former house. Why is this? Because too many of us, we feel like our little place of perfection, that we're better than everybody, this, that, and the other. When you're like that, you can't be used. When you got it all together, you can't be used. And so this is the reason why God is going to tear down in order to build up, because he's got to let the ones at the margins know that I care about you. And he's got to let the ones at the middle know that you ain't no better than the ones at the margin. So he's got to tear their little world down too, because they've experienced, Alice in Wonderland, or, Cinderella. That has just been smooth riding for all them. But those that at the margins, they haven't had a voice. They haven't been heard. And so it's not like God is going to give you that voice where you are an LGBTQ, you are a Me Tooer, you are Black Lives Matter, give it to you in the sense that you want him to give it to you. That's going to bring you personal satisfaction, because the personal satisfaction is not going to bring glory to God. What he is going to do is he's going to give you an opportunity to be heard. But in all the hearing that is going to come out of you, your hearing is going to come face to face with Jesus. And so in the end, it ain't gonna matter whether you're from the margins or you're from the middle. Everybody from the middle and the margins are going to have a coming to Jesus moment, and God is going to get the glory out of all of that. I am going to conclude this session, but I am no ways finished. I got so much more to say, but I hope you've gotten something out of this message on today. I want you to be blessed. I want you to go in God, go in God's love, go in God's strength, but most of all, I want you to go in God's grace, good grace. It was grace that did it for you. I want you to share this message if you have not already. I want you to subscribe. I want you to give it a thumbs up, and do all those other things. I want to ask of you, because I share this across my other platforms, my Donald Lee platform and all that. So some of you that would go to that one, I need you to subscribe to it, because I need at least 100 subscribers in order to go live on the Facebook platform. And right now I don't have 100. I do have way more than what I need on Facebook and YouTube. There's no criteria for that, but I would like to go live on my personal page as well. So this is the reason why I have to share it to my personal page, because I don't have enough followers. I'm not a Facebook kind of guy. I don't do all this stuff. The only reason why you see my face ever, it would be because of ministry reasons. I am concerned about the well-being of people. That's my drive. And it's not money driven. It's not color driven. It's not none of that. I just want to see people do well. Okay. Be blessed. The balance of your day. Remember Jesus. He's always remembering you. Go in God, and he will go with you. Shalom until the next time.